I'll always stand up for you, Janet. They watched the Ferris wheel on the pier turn slowly, a circle of light against the dark sea. The future was still uncertain, the commute would be long, the money would be tight, and there would be more Maxes and Julians and disapproving mothers. But as they stood there, 3+1, in the heart of Santa Monica, they knew they had already won. The kisses were hers, the laughter was hers, and the dreams were his. But the home belonged to all of them. And as the last of the light faded, the wind whispered through the palms, a song they finally understood. Three's company, two. And company is just another word for love. Chapter 19. The Reality of Us. The days after Martha's departure were filled with a strange mixture of relief and new anxieties. Janet and Jack were officially a they, at least within the walls of apartment 201, but the transition from being roommates who hid their feelings to a couple who shared them was far from seamless. The first issue was Cindy. While she was genuinely happy for them, even crying a little when Janet told her the truth about the kiss, she had started to feel like a ghost in her own home. She would walk into the kitchen to see them sharing a private look and immediately turn around, mumbling about forgetting her sunglasses. "We have to make her feel included, Jack," Janet said one morning while they were folding laundry. "She's not just a roommate, she's part of the family." "I know," Jack sighed, trying to untangle one of Cindy's oversized sweaters from his chef's whites. "But it's hard to be just one of the gang when I want to spend every second just being with you." The second issue was the black sedan. Jack had seen it again near the academy. It was always there, parked a block away, tinted windows hiding the occupant. He hadn't told Janet yet, not after the stress of her mother's visit, but the feeling of being watched was starting to rot his focus. Chapter 20. The Shadow of Revenge. That evening, Jack decided to take a detour on his way home from the academy. He ducked into a narrow alleyway behind a row of souvenir shops, hoping to loop around and see if the sedan followed. It didn't. Instead, as he emerged onto the main boulevard, a figure stepped out from the shadows of a defunct movie theater. "Mr. Tripper, we meet again." Jack froze. It wasn't the man in the sedan. It was Julian Vane, looking considerably less polished than he had at the pier. His expensive suit was wrinkled, and there was a desperate, feverish light in his eyes. "Julian," Jack said, his pulse quickening. "I thought you were busy redeveloping some other poor souls." "You ruined everything, Tripper," Julian hissed, stepping into the light. "The project was scrapped. The investors pulled out, because a silly florist decided to follow her heart instead of her financial interest. Janet made her own choice. I just helped her see who you really were." "Oh, I'm much more than you think," Julian smiled, a cold, predatory expression. "I don't lose, Jack. Not to a man who lives in a 2-bedroom apartment with 2 girls. I've been watching you. I know about the academy. I know about the maintenance man charade." Jack realized then that the black sedan had been Julian's. "You're stalking us?" "I'm collecting information. Information that could make your life very difficult. Or it could all go away. If you convince Janet to reconsider the lease." "Not a chance in hell," Jack said, his jaw tightening. "We'll see," Julian said, fading back into the shadows. "People in your position shouldn't make enemies of people in mine." Chapter 21. The Third Wheel. Back at 201, Cindy was sitting alone on the sofa, staring at a blank television screen. The apartment felt unusually quiet. Jack and Janet were in the kitchen, their voices a low, intimate murmur as they prepared dinner. Cindy felt a pang of loneliness. For years, the three of them had been a unit, an chaotic, hilarious, beautiful unit. But now, she was the odd one out. She felt like she was trespassing on a honeymoon that had no end date. She stood up and walked into the kitchen. "Hey guys, I think I might move out." The clatter of a wooden spoon hitting the floor was the only sound for a long second. Jack and Janet turned, their faces a mirror of shock. "Move out?" Janet gasped, rushing over to her. "Cindy, why? Did something happen?" "No, nothing happened," Cindy said, her voice small. "It's just you two. You're happy, and I'm just here. I feel like I'm in the way." You're never in the way, Cindy, Jack insisted, stepping around the counter. This apartment doesn't work without you. Who's going to trip over the furniture? Who's going to accidentally set the toaster to incinerate? I'm serious, Cindy said, a tear finally escaping. I love you both, but I think I need to find my own place, my own life. Janet hugged her tight. Not like this, Cindy. If you move, it should be because you found something better, not because you feel unwanted. We're a triad. Always. They stayed up late that night, the three of them, talking on the floor of the living room just like they did when they first moved in. They made a pact. No matter what happened between Jack and Janet, Cindy was the soul of the house. Chapter 22. The Academy Crisis. The pressure on Jack intensified. Between Julian's threats and the grueling schedule of the Escoffier Academy, he was reaching his breaking point. During a high-stakes exam creating a classic beef bourguignon for a panel of stone-faced French judges, Jack's hand slipped. The wine went in too fast. The heat was too high. The dish was a disaster. Mr. Tripper, the lead judge, Chef Maurice, sighed. Your talent is undeniable, but your mind is in Santa Monica, not in the kitchen. If you cannot focus, you will be asked to leave. Jack walked out of the academy that afternoon. His head hung low. He was a block away when the black sedan pulled up beside him. The window rolled down. Rough day, Jack? Julian Vane asked, a smug grin on his face. I hear Chef Maurice is a very demanding man. It would be a shame if he found out about your living situation. The academy has a very strict code of conduct regarding moral character. Jack stopped. He looked at Julian, and for the first time, he wasn't afraid. He was angry. You really have nothing left, do you, Julian? We've survived Janet's mother. You're just a mosquito in a leisure suit. Jack turned and walked away, ignoring Julian's shouted threats. He had a plan. Chapter 23. The Sting. Jack didn't go home. He went to the Regal Beagle and found Larry Dallas. Larry, I need a favor. A big one. It involves a tuxedo, a hidden camera, and your most convincing investor persona. Say no more, pal. I was born for this. The plan was simple. Larry would contact Julian Vane, pretending to be a disgruntled investor from a rival firm who wanted to leak information that would destroy Jack and Janet's reputation. They met Julian at a dimly lit bar downtown. Julian, desperate for leverage, fell for it. I don't care about the girls, Julian hissed, leaning into Larry's hidden microphone. I just want the lease. I'll frame Tripper for theft if I have to. I'll say he've been embezzling from the academy's pantry. And the stalking? Larry asked, playing the part perfectly. A necessary evil, Julian laughed. The black sedan was a touch of class, don't you think? As Julian finished his confession, the lights in the bar came up. Jack, Janet, and a very confused Mr. Furley, who Larry had brought along as a witness, stepped out from the back booth. A touch of class, Julian? Jack asked, holding up a small tape recorder, more like a one-way ticket to a harassment suit. Julian turned pale. This is entrapment. No, Julian, Janet said, her voice cold and steady. This is a rendezvous with reality. Leave us alone, or this tape goes to the police and to your remaining investors. Julian Vane scrambled out of the bar, and for the first time in weeks, the shadow over Santa Monica lifted. Chapter 24. The Forever Rendezvous. The celebration at apartment 201 that night was the loudest yet. Even Mr. Furley joined in, though he mostly just wanted to know if the maintenance man was actually going to fix the sink. I'll fix it, Mr. Furley, Jack laughed, pouring everyone a glass of champagne, right after I finish my head chef exam. As the party wound down, Jack and Janet found themselves on the balcony. The Ferris wheel was a blur of light against the midnight sky. Cindy was inside, happily showing Mr. Furley her depressed avocado plant, which had miraculously started to sprout a new leaf. We did it, Janet whispered, leaning her head on Jack's shoulder. We did, Jack agreed. No more stalking, no more threats, just us. And the commute, Janet reminded him. And the commute. And the burnt eggs. And the noisy neighbors. Jack turned her to face him, his eyes filled with a love that had been tested by fire and salt. "I love you, Janet Wood, and I love you, Jack Tripper." They kissed as the cool ocean breeze swept over them, a kiss that felt like a beginning rather than an ending. In the city of gold and salt, amidst the neon and the noise, they had built a fortress out of laughter and a home out of three. The wind through the palms sang its final chorus. It didn't whisper about secrets anymore, it whispered about the future. Because when you knock on the door of apartment 201, you don't just find a lovable space, you find a family. And in the rendezvous called life, that is the greatest masterpiece of all. Chapter 25. The Golden Ladle. The morning of the final exam at the Escoffier Academy arrived with a heavy, salt-laden fog that clung to the windows of apartment 201. Jack hadn't slept. He had spent the night mentally rehearsing the reduction of a demi-glaze.